Welcome friends to a Halo lore video. Today we look at Slipspace, how it's used by the various races in the Halo universe, ask what limits it, and what price is paid for it. In basic terms, Slipspace is another dimension of space made of 11 non-visible dimensions that let the ships in there travel faster than light. Those dimensions sit above the normal 3 that we experience, and in that place, due to its nature, the laws of physics do not hold, and this lets faster than light speeds be achieved. Humanity does this via the Shō-Fujikawa Translight engine. The Covenant use the same dimension, but with the aid of Forerunner technology that can make faster journeys there, and the Forerunners themselves can go in and out pretty much instantaneously. In Slipspace, these non-spatial dimensions are tangled together. The space of, say, the Covenant and the ships from Earth are 4 dimensions. But in Slipspace, what you would normally use to measure things by, timings, mass, positions or speeds, can't be measured like they can in normal space. When you travel there, your ship needs to have quantum fields carefully set in place as bubbles of normal space. And without these shields, a ship will be torn apart. In line with these irregular physics, when a fleet of ships goes into Slipspace, likely in a formation, during transit, they can be detected by others in Slipspace as a large object. Now, when you're going through Slipspace, any mass, such as a planet you can pass, are effectively intangible to you and the normal universe in general. An exception to this would be if a ship is still transiting into Slipspace and passes through another ship. What does affect space-time in Slipspace are gravity wells from planets in normal space. Due to this, transit points are chosen that allow ships to move there easier, and these together, formed by the planets around them, create routes that provide a faster way to travel. The advanced Forerunners would refer to this way of navigating as rational journey. Now we come to what, for me, is one of the most intriguing aspects of Slipspace. Reconciliation. When a ship emerges from its travels in Slipspace, it will have an aura of causal reconciliation. By its nature, faster than light travel can cause paradoxes, but this is mitigated by space-time, a way that it can heal itself, called reconciliation. This will eliminate any non-paradoxes. How bad this is depends on the amount in difference in information that is transferred between 2 locations, when you enter and leave, and the effect on the space-time in that area. Or to put it in another way, the time you spend outside of our dimension must be reconciled by time back in our dimension. By staying in our dimension universe, this will let things right themselves, and then you can carry on going. And this is where the term reconciliation comes from. When a ship travels in Slipspace, there has to be a certain amount of energy involved, linked to the mass entering Slipspace. So a Halo being moved, for example, would slow down travel in the rest of the Forerunner Empire, as their energy level was high, and this linked to the debt limits other travel. The Forerunners themselves were limited by the amount of traffic they made. Space in this debt would need to be made, so less important Forerunner ships trying to travel did not use up that debt. It's almost like internet bandwidth. A lot of people can use it, but there is an overall limit. And if one user sucks a lot of that data, a lot of what is available to people, it drains the resources for others. Another technique the Forerunners use to minimize this reconciliation limit is that they would perform several short jumps to cover a longer distance and let the reconciliation right itself between each of them. Being the stellar engineers they are, the Forerunners can also control this effect as a weapon of sorts, using its effects to limit, or we can say hamper, and even cut off others from using Slipspace within a certain region. This knowledge of the overall travel within the Forerunner Empire comes from an Overwatch network. Its function is to keep an eye on interstellar travel, but even this network could not entirely manage the debt built up, and this would later limit the Forerunners in their fight against the Flood. Now let's go to the other end, the limited by comparison understanding of humanity of slipspace. For humans, slipspace travel is different when moving through slipspace. Whatever measurement of time you use there would not match the same amount of time passing in real space. There is always a small variance. A fleet as well may not all emerge from slipspace at the same time, even if they entered it at the same moment. And the time in between transiting through slipspace whilst there can vary between the crews of two different ships, and in the current Halo era, reconciliation debt has fallen significantly in comparison to the time the Forerunners ruled all. Putting it simply, there's less space travel, less traffic. To enter slipspace, Earth ships use particle accelerators that tear apart space-time, and this is done with micro black holes, which are then evaporated by Hawking radiation in fractions of a second. These holes are then manipulated to allow the vessel to squeeze through them into slipspace. Obviously that part is done before the radiation wipes them out. The ship will then proceed with the field and so on, as we covered earlier. The Covenant's technology is more finely tuned, and their ships can cut a precision hole and slip through easily. It takes less time to travel and plot the course with their ships. This has given them a tactical advantage when confronting the UNSC forces. And the Forerunners, of course, can slip in and out of slipspace easily and smoothly. A UNSC ship can't accurately come back to normal space where they wish to. And because of this, they often emerge far from gravity wells, and jumps into a system are dangerous for them and often not done. When we look at velocities in terms of the time travel takes, for UNSC ships, short jumps can still take 2 months, and sometimes longer journeys can take 6. Humanity reverse engineers Forerunner technology and has been able to improve this and many more of their earlier issues, and with experience they have been able to find better routes. Travel also makes no sense when compared to similar distances in real space. This is because of how the topology in slipspace is so different to ours. What you might consider as a slow jump goes much further, sometimes. So there's a high level of inaccuracy in that. So we have talked about the advantages of slipspace technology amongst those who have used it and how it works. But what are the dangers? Even the protective quantum bubble is not perfect. Those within the ship can still experience nausea, heart failure. It could even kill you. Death can come from radiation levels as well, as the levels in slipspace are very high. Lead foil in UNSC ships minimises this risk, and sometimes the danger can be to the people on the planet. When the Prophet of Regret ordered a slipspace jump to get away from Earth, much damage was done to New Mombasa, because when the ship comes into atmosphere, it pushes aside what's there and creates a shockwave and possible weapon, and when the ship goes away, it causes an implosion. Even the mighty Forerunners had dangers in slipspace. When 7 Halo rings tried to translate to slipspace, only one made it, and the rest were destroyed. The cause of this was the large amount of stress the Halos passing through the portal caused when it all happened at the same time, and those in the portal were exposed to the physics of slipspace. Some lost perception of reality and time. This slipspace channel, after that incident, would not be stable again for many years. The Forerunners, those who understood this technology the best, have many applications for it, and in this last section we'll go over a few examples. They can create closed bubbles of slipstream space and control or even stop the flow of time and keep the contents of the bubble invisible if you're in normal space. These can then, for any period of time, keep the contents and move something within it from normal space to inside a construct they have made in slipstream, and not need that construct back into normal space to do it. They used it as a way of making cryochambers and places to imprison others, where the warden, we will call them, can manipulate the passage in time inside that chamber to make it long or short, depending on what they want. They could also make weapons that can fire into slipstream and affect a target there or in normal space. We've also seen a ship could employ quantum technology to act as an interdictor for any other ships trying to use slipspace in the area, basically preventing them doing so. And with those interesting ideas from the Forerunners, I will end today's video.